it off.
Yeah, I have to think so as well, because, again, you expect the big utility guys to make the plays. Certainly the playmakers were there for Supermassive yesterday. We'll see how they stuck up against Saigon Jokers, because we are into picks and bans for our second game of the day. Wildcard starting to heat up here on day number 2, and both these teams will play twice as many games as they did yesterday, which isn't a huge difference, but 2 games instead of 1 will start to separate the pack a bit perhaps in the standings. Banzo have started as here Trundle for Saigon Jokers versus Maokai and Callista out there for Supermassive. Pretty standard stuff so far.
So just as the picks and bans are coming through, brief look ahead for both these teams.
Yep.
Saigon Jokers will be going up against Isurus next, whereas Supermassive, wow, new name, goes up against Dead FM. So we will see, I guess, off the back of this game. I think if Saigon Jokers win this game, very good chance of going 3-0 in the first couple of days, pretty much sealing their spot into the playoffs. They'll just need a couple more wins. However, Supermassive also looking to replicate the same feat. And if they go through the Chiefs, Saigon Jokers, and Detonation Focus Me, they still have the last LAN team to play as well. So it should be pretty smooth sailing for the Turkish lineup from there.
Yep, certainly looked good so far for both these sides, but we'll have to clash here in this particular best of 1. Kindred, Alistar, the last bans, and Echo actually the first pick from Ro. They're likely the top laner, so I assume that's his pick. But Echo's been such a dominant champion in the last few weeks of League of Legends. Supermassive, they know what they're doing here, but they do leave it open.
Yeah, this is an interesting pick ban so far. Fab is going to be starting. Thaldrin played day number 1. And it looks like Graves as well as Gragas, and I actually expect those two to be swapped.
Which is pretty cool, right? Getting to flex these 2 junglers or jungle in top lane. But certainly they've got the option. I almost like, if they're going to do that, by the way, that they pick them in this order.
Yeah.
Because you get just a slight psychological edge.
See,
yeah, this is not top and jungle. We just picked our own
You
champion.
kind of do, but then you realize that it's Fab being the guy that was famous for IE Nidalee and crazy stuff like that. And I don't believe him for some reason. I just don't trust him.
Not buying it. Well, good to see Fab back into the lineup. He played the final for the team, of course, where they won and qualified themselves to this tournament, winning their local league. Excellent carry top lane player, so we'll see how that one works out. But 10 seconds here for the Saigon Jokers to lock it down. Once again, junglers have been somewhat targeted out. Nidalee is available, but Jinky maybe going to stick to the gang-style junglers. Played Gragas yesterday, at least kind of fits more in that ballpark versus the Graves Nidalee Kindred style. And once again, Celebrity will take the Lucian.
Yeah, but weird ranges already on this lineup. You know, you have Lucian, who is very melee range, and then you have Echo, very melee, then you have Lucian, like 500, 525 range. I talk about it a lot. Elise, very close range as well. They're kind of all piled in right now, and Dumbledore picks up support Poppy one more time.
You have to think so, because these picks are pretty crazy all through it. Achu, though, will pick up Ezreal, with Sivir available, so looks like the team doesn't want to take that. Ezreal's been actually surprisingly prevalent at the tournament thus far. Kind of curious to see Lucian be such a priority, but Ezreal actually fall pretty high into the pick order for a lot of these AD carry players. Supermassive, though, really revealing not a whole lot. You can maybe, if you've done your homework, figure out where these picks are likely going to go, but I do like the flexibility the team has, and the Doge, Bardo is available, but he didn't take it, but his Poppy looked on point yesterday.
Yeah, exactly right. His Poppy was just so good, able to start up team fights. I mean, we saw what can happen when Poppy plays nice and decisive out of Swiper last game, so I think that is something that Dumbledore will be able to replicate. In fact, has already done so in day number 1. Wouldn't have minded the Morgana, actually. Rom, different feel, but Morgana would have kept the very short-range composition a lot more safe. Right now, they just have 100% of piling comp. This is pretty similar to what the Chiefs ran.
And there should be double teleport as well. I know Levita currently has Ignite selected, but can't imagine that's the Summoner's Spell he's going to go with, because it would not suit the style or the champion that he selected for himself, as Lysandra Brom are actually the last 2 there for Saigon Jokers. That does leave the final pick now for Supermassive Esports. What do they want here? 30 seconds, and I think they're locking in Naru's champion by the looks of things.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case, and with Naru as a superstar mid laner, why not give him the counter pick? I like it a lot. See whether he goes with something a little bit more poke heavy to try and force out Lysandra early, who is a very early engage, and there it is. Very poke heavy, in fact.
Karma looks to be the last pick here. Not locked in yet. Still 10 seconds if they do want to change their mind. This is a pick that's been really picking up speed around the world.
I love Karma. I think Karma is like S-tier mid laner right now. The reason being is that she has an AoE shield, synergizes really well with Kindred, who actually isn't in this game, but you know is worthwhile talking about, is on the ban list. But not only that, the empowered Q just does so much, and empowered chains make her really hard to gank. You get back health at the start and at the end of the Q, of the W. Wow.
Yep.
Empowered chain. And also has a snare there, so I just think that it is something that suits Naru's playstyle well, and I'm very excited to watch him pull it out on Summoner's Rift.
Very excited as well. For me, I have a very simple explanation for Karma when I see her. I look at her, I'm like, this is pretty much AP Sivo. That's how I feel about.
Yeah.
That's what I think of Karma. It's not obviously exactly the same, but
No, I agree with the sentiment, right? Big speed up for the team. You get shields on top of it as well, so it's like kind of cool Siva.
Surprising the amount of damage in short range.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. This composition, Gragas, Graves, Ezreal, very good at going forward and backwards, so Karma will be able to flex between those two very well. You kind of need a support that can do that. Poppy makes a heck of a lot of sense now because Poppy also does that. Q Runaway is actually pretty good as a slow, and the ultimate, of course, can make disjointed team fights. So I would say that both of these teams, Saigon Jokers and Supermassive Esports, are pretty good at engaging, disengaging. Lissandra, unfortunately, has to be a primary form of engage in this game. Doesn't really have a Alistar like we saw the Chiefs, but Braum as well as Echo are great follow-up CC. Echo's not really good engaged by himself because it's pretty telegraphed, and Braum is a similar vein, unless you get a really good flash ultimate in there. So a lot of pressure right now on Levita in the mid lane to be able to see whether he can pull off some sick flanks on the Lissandra. Makes teleport plays even more important.
But again, that's sort of fitting in with the style that we expect from the Saigon Jokers. Lots of strong reactive CC elements in their team comp. We'll see if Supermassive maybe fall for it, or if they're able to play the same crisp league we saw yesterday.
I didn't get to see whether Supermassive swapped their top laner and jungle pick
That's
up
true,
as
actually.
well.
I don't know who's jungle.
I was like, I even wrote down to like remind myself to do it, and then like I was like, I missed it.
Well,
so we'll see whether that comes through. But one thing I will say is that if Graves gets going, especially with the if it's a top lane Graves, and he goes with some lifesteal and the Phantom Dancer at the start of it with the Death Stance, he can potentially split push to the end of the earth in this game. I don't think there's many people that are stopping him.
No, I mean, Liz is probably not going to stop you. It's nice to have options, of course, but we'll have to see when we get into game just to double check which top laner it will be. I think on the other side for Supermassive, as far as their team comp goes, I actually really like the last pick just because it's kind of a pivot for Naru, right? Like you mentioned that their comp kind of does goes forward and backwards well. I think against a team like Saigon Jokers, you need options because if you expect them to get reactive on you and try and punish your mistakes, you need to get out of that. But you also don't want to sit there with another reactive comp yourself and really wait till an hour to make someone make a mistake.
Yeah, I completely agree with the sentiment of that. Like, you have to be able to pick your moments and go aggressive when you can, but also kite back if you do get yourself in a sticky situation. I think the other thing is they just have great zoning potential. I mean, when you think about it, Ezreal Q's flying everywhere, Karma Q's flying everywhere, as well as Graves with that big damage out of the collateral damage. So I think that this is a composition that's really well balanced for Supermassive.
Yep, certainly is, but we are going to get into game, and it
Gragas
is
top.
Here's Graves jungle.
So I've been fooled also.
It's a ruse. That's not the real Fabulous. Well, we'll see what happens here on Summoner's Rift. Second game of the day, Saigon Joker is going to line up against Supermassive. Both these teams only played one game, but it was to a win yesterday. So this is the battle to stay undefeated, perhaps, and to tie hard at random for their current score after a great day one from that side. And it seems like both teams have picked up pretty comps they're pretty happy with. Levita did swap to teleport, by the way, just as expected, so didn't want that ignite. But Naru does have to take cleanse as a result, but I think his Karma can really maybe bully this lane. Can't wait to see what he gets done on the champion.
Yeah, I don't think he's too stressed about having to take cleanse on this one, especially because Karma is such a safe pick if you do so. Looks like a lane swap going to be coming out of both squads. As Naru, Dumbledore and Achu towards the top side.
And this could be maybe an invade. No.
All right, cool. So they're just taking the little ones.
Whew.
Cheeky.
Always a worry when you see that. It's like, oh god, what are they doing? In fact, they've been spotted here as well. They're checking for them, but Celebrity going to get aggressed on. Ignites down. Dumbledore's going to chase in for it. Damage is good from Achu, but Dumbledore's about to get stunned. One more auto required, but Celebrity is going to use it.
But does he rotate over on Karma? Has empowered Q. They have to burn Flash and heal.
Yep, and Naru is there also coming in, so huge danger there and a big win. Very cheeky play from Supermassive, but it works out nicely.
So much better pushing power out of Naru. As this is what should happen at level 1, by the way, as your Gragas. You should get destroyed.
Especially by Echo. It's just such a brutal...
Well, same as Poppy, right?
Yeah.
Both of them have really good level 1s. Gragas has a bad level 1. As I said, I really am interested how Yang won that level 1 trade.
Well, he's been doing it all tournament, it seems like, so we'll have to check in later. Maybe we'll find out, but looks like junglers are just starting their jungle pattern here, and they'll move through actually opposite sides of the jungle this time around. But how do we contain the Echo is always a good question. Roll off to a good start there, but 2v2 is just inverted this time around. We've seen a lot of this because, again, mostly blind lane swaps attempted in this tournament so far. So we've had a nice mix of lane swaps and our standard lanes.
Certainly have as well. Good damage actually coming out of the Karma there. We'll be able to force Levita out of lane.
Almost landed the chain after the claw as well, but not quite enough range as the Doge getting aggressive. Good turnaround though, trying to stun up the Poppy, but the Doge will not stand for it, although he does take a big chunk of damage. Braum kind of messing up a lot of that aggression, but Poppy should be okay as Storm Edge is going to come into the mid lane. Lock up again onto Levita, end of the line down, but Jinky's here, good stun onto Naru. And actually could turn this around, but...
Also have creeps on their side. The worst enemy of Jungle Graves, as soon as he walks into a gank, of course, creeps will block up the auto attacks, and you can see a little bit frustrating there for Stamaj. Good aggression, honestly, out of all three Saigon Jokers lanes right now.
And, yep, keep moving forward. Achu actually getting a Grestone. Good stun there from Su. Ezreal always a little weak in the early stages of the lane, especially against someone like Lucian Braum.
So Ezreal actually...
Oh, good stun though. The Doge going to try and turn it around. That could be a kill. Needs to move in there. Flash first blood. He's going to move in, and Su has to book it. Stand behind to a creep. I think that's enough distance, but now bottom side Jinky looking for Fab Fabulous. Going to get cocooned. That was beautiful as the flash ins from Rowe. Repel's going to come down, but I don't think he's got enough to get him.
Yeah, already he'd used the Q as well, so good job from Fab Fabulous getting out of there. We'll probably be able to teleport back to the tower as well. So first blood goes over to Dumbledore. As I said, there is a very clear pattern in who the carry in the duo lane is right now for Supermassive, and it's not the AD carry. It is definitely the support. Time and time again against the Chiefs, Dumbledore was able to, I guess, respond to any aggression that was going to come out. He was even taking on mid laners at some points in that game. He's just such a beast.
He is, and I agreed before, by the way. Ezreal certainly not bad at level 1, but you could see how Celebrity and Su were getting work done.
Yep.
The Doge, though, able to lock that all down, and now the Tears bought in for a Chu. He'll start scaling. Lucian only with a Cull actually should contain that lane a little bit better.
But there's a massive difference in the items for supports. Completed Sightstone right now just means that Dumbledore has so much more trading capacity than what is going... Ooh, need to be careful there.
Yeah, Levita only level 5.
I'm actually surprised Levita didn't take that Claw. He hadn't procced his Thunder Launch yet. Would have been able to get in underneath the turret. Creeps were already there. WQ into an auto attack and a flash over the wall would have probably cleaned up Naru. Yeah. But I guess respecting a very good mid laner in Naru.
Nice stun here with the Fab Row, dishing out the damage. Grasping and dying procs as well. Gragas gets no health back actually because he didn't manage to get the auto off for the grasp. You can see where Echo's so good into these tanks, but Storm Edge is down here. Going to try and make the difference. Red buff applied, but Row just dashes out.
It certainly does. Not all that worried, I think is a fair way to say it. Jinky a little bit low in levels here. Only level 3 still at about nearly 6 minutes.
Yeah, committed pretty hard to that gank in the bottom lane. Didn't get it, so no extra experience. And Graves, of course, is going to farm up nicely. This is where problems could start. Cocoon lands in, but Naru's going to look for it. Jinky getting slowed down by the red buff, and the chain is going to land. Latches back down, but a good flash after the repel's going to get him out safely. Levita forced to book it as well. But nice pressure there from the Graves.
Yeah, but a flash for a mid laner on the jungle actually probably in Saigon's favor right now. Naru not going to have that one available as once again the Echo continues to put down hurt on Fab.
He's not having a good time. And looks like he is going to have to go back once more here, Gragas. Double Doran's even, and still can't do enough against the Echo early power.
Yeah, Echo's got pretty strong early game. He's also level 6 right now, so you need to be careful.
I think Storm Edge was trying to get in there beforehand, but good experience timing there from Rowan. Graves going to walk in.
He just wants to shove out the lane with Fab, but I don't know if Echo's going to let them. In fact, going for the kill here.
He's actually going to go in for it, but he almost gets it. Ultimate and doesn't quite reach back into the Gragas. Fabulous does get away, but Rose happy to stay here, and Gragas now has to go back.
And Stamaj still needs to be careful because the base values of Echo's ulti are pretty huge, and he's got like 2 pseudo AP starting items in the double rings there.
Levita locked up again. You can see Naru trying to keep that poke going. But Lissandra actually doing well on CS at least.
Yeah, Naru's trying to kill him, and Levita's just trying to farm. So Naru actually missing out on some opportunity to get some cheeky CS. Once again, they pull the jungler into the mid lane to help shove it out. This is a continued trend, and lane swap actually going to come out of Supermassive, wanting to avoid the Echo from now on.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't really blame them. Fabulous though. We'll get at least some CS here.
Also unlocks Dumbledore, so you know you get the added bonus of that. So I like the swap here. But we'll see whether it's going to be mirrored, because it looks like it is. So instead it's just going to be a big creep wave picked up for Fabulous, and we'll see if he's able to shove out quick enough to get another shop in before the Echo once again tries to assert pressure in this top lane.
Looks like maybe Dragon is actually not a bad choice either.
Yeah, that's actually a really smart rotation, because they know that they've got about 10 seconds of tempo as they walk out of base. So free objective here should be able to be picked up. And making Stomage tank it as well. He is level 6. Dumbledore has a candy bar if he needs to. So really solid shot calling right now out of Supermassive. But Saigon probably not all too phased.
Nope, first Dragon, not the worst one to give away. It's when they start stacking that you have issues, but always nice to get one. And Supermassive take advantage of, like you said, good map movement to grab that there. Stormage though, just going to clear out this Scuttle Crab. He's farming up nicely on the Graves, but at least has kept up now as Jinky able to catch up almost on CS, not quite just yet. That's getting pretty close there on the Elise after maybe some aggressive gank pathing. Levita blue buff though should make life a lot easier here in the mid lane versus Naru. Blasting one also completed, so it looks like another potential. Oh, actually, I guess that could be Abyssal as well, so we'll have to wait. Maybe not double Doran's Rod of Ages.
Yeah,
the Swiffer special.
Potentially Abyssal. I like Abyssal against, I guess, Gragas as well as the Karma. A little bit less scaling potential, but still nice damage.
Yeah, I like it as well. Pretty standard stuff here, especially for the early health. Always nice, but we'll see how the rest of it works out. And I think the issue has to definitely be Fab, you know. Played in the finals, good player. Pretty much got his team here to this point. But Thaldron had a good game yesterday. Gragas is a good champion, but they left the Echo open, gave it over to Ro, who happily first picked it. And definitely some struggles early on in that lane, at least 1v1.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. The one good thing about Gragas is that his utility doesn't really go anywhere. He's still going to have a knock-up, he's going to have a slow, and he's going to have that massive cast to be able to start up team fights. So, what? As I just try and defend you, Fab, you die on me?
Yeah,
Thank you very much,
Looks like he's going to go down. Timelander lands in. That should pull back, and that's a great kill. Ro gets himself pretty much a solo kill. Bit of help there from Jinky, but a straight-up tower dive in top lane.
Yeah, exactly right. So we come back into the game briefly to watch Fab die and then pop out. Sorry, guys, about that. But, yeah, what a play, actually, out of the top lane. Ro really starting to put the screws in on Fabulous. And this is a guy that we're not expecting to lose lane. He is pretty dominant. So, interesting that it is going that way.
And again, have to think maybe drafting-wise, do you give the Echo open? It's dangerous from Supermassive. And again, best of one is punishing and draft mistakes as well. So we'll see if it costs them more, but right now, Ro off to a good start, 1-0-0 on the Echo, but like you mentioned, Fabulous can certainly still be relevant as the Gragas. Checking out the rest of the map though, so everyone's still farming away. It looks like Abyssal though for Levita, so
yep.
No Rod of Ages today.
You understand it, because that damage comes out of Naru. Imagine if he didn't have a Negatron Cloak right now. Naru's actually going for a Chalice. Into that Unthin's Unholy Grail. Of course, a little bit mana intensive for the Karma, and as people die, you want to be able to go through multiple spell rotations, so I like the build, a little bit offensive, defensive flavor as well. So honestly, right now, map is wide open, but top laner is probably the issue versus support, maybe?
Yep, I think so. The Doge still looking strong. Naru, they're getting dove in the mid lane here. Stomach, they're actually going to answer it. Great repel, but I'm not sure it's enough from Jinky. Here's Su, though, could even things up. Here's Levita just missing that Q onto Naru for the kill, but the damage is still enough. The Ignite was there from the Braum, I believe, and it is enough for the kill.
Yeah, fantastic work there out of Su to be able to rotate. However, we saw the power of Karma in the anti-dive because the empowered W came out and got 2 massive heals onto Naru, but it wasn't enough in the end, so great execution out of Saigon, and this is a little bit more proactive than we expected to see out of the team. They're 1,000 gold in the lead, and Rose still doesn't look like he's finished. One thing I will say is those freeze frames. Echo, when he's in the game, looks really cool in all of them.
Oh, we had the sick one before with the Revolta Venomous biting in.
Yeah.
Like, stopped.
The giant
as
spider.
he's about to sink the fangs in.
We also had one the other day where Graves had just ultied, and he was, like, blasted backwards.
Hey, man. Cool guys don't look.
Not ideal, but obviously glass half full right now.
Yeah, still good.
Lovely morning.
Always fine as a shoot. With the pickaxe now, looking a little bit better. All the celebrities like, yeah, you're alone. You have almost no health. I have almost no mana, but I probably have more bullets than you.
Yeah.
But you're actually going to clear the wave out now. And here comes the cavalry.
Turret dive.
Here comes the Doge. She's got the flash. Puts up the W.
Oh.
Doesn't quite carry him to the tower, though. Stomach was ready without the ulti. But still enough damage if he managed to land the stun.
And now Jinky and Ro one more time looking for a turret dive.
Fabulous, already 50% health. The dive can come back in. Ro does have the ulti. Ulti's on the spot. Does get splash damage there. Echo should be safe there. Did have to flash to get out of the way, but Nara going to lock up Levita here in the mid lane. That's a minion. straight into it, and a very cheeky bit of poke there from Levita as the Doge is back in mid.
Yeah, so here goes Dumbledore one more time, but not successful. So finally, SuperMassive look like they're getting beaten around the map a little bit, and Fabulous's lane is starting to bleed profusely. That's a 30 CS, as well as 2 kills, probably nearly a third in that bottom lane is the one I was thinking of. But yeah, wow, this is honestly surprising out of Saigon Jokers because they're not normally that early game team.
No, they're not. And it's been, kind of back to the more CC heavy junglers here for Jinky as he's going to go back on a Storm Edge. Actually, huge damage onto the Graves, but Graves will answer back here. Naru locked up there, the Doge. He's going to try and kick one out. He finds Jinky, and this could be the response they want. Lock up there from Naru on the snare, but Rose here as well has gone straight for the dive. Naru looks to be in a whole host of trouble, but Fabulous is TP down as well.
Yeah, so everyone get in there. It looks like the double teleports are coming up massive. Dumbledore also in good position and gets a stun up on Lysandra. Detective work here. I'm going to say that mid laners die, everyone else escapes. But will be interesting to see if that is the case.
Yep, Naru Doge down. Levita does die.
So,
look at you.
Yeah, but I didn't think Doge would die. Now Fab in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he's good flash, but I'm not sure it's enough. Does get stunned. Ro gets his 4th kill of the game.
Ro is massive
he's
right
huge
now. And don't get me wrong, I am unapologetically really harsh on Echo right now because I think he is in a strong place, but it's one of those champions that people don't really know how to maximize, and it's just picking him for no reason, just because he is that flavor of the month. Right now, Ro looks like he understands the ins and out of Echo very, very well.
And it's been a partnership from him and Jinky that's really got this game off to a blisteringly fast start. Love the push here from SuperMassive, continuing to keep calm and play the map. They're 3K behind.
They're going to be 5K behind because they're going to lose bottom lane as well.
Have to make these trades, though. Storm Edge getting chased. Issues, but not too bad. And looks like Naru was able to defend bottom lane. I think Tower may have already gone down.
Yeah, look like it. So that is a huge advantage right now for Saigon Jokers. And what we have learnt of the team, and one thing that I'm actually going to... Dragon still pulled out. We'll see whether this eventuates in anything. All right, cool. So Saigon Jokers in the GPL are known to be a reactive team. They're known to capitalize on mistakes. If anyone watches the GPL, there's some silly aggressive teams in there. So just because they play passive in the GPL doesn't mean they can't play aggressive on the IWC stage. Because, once again, GPL is known for early team fighting, grouping up around Dragon. If you look at the bloodiness chart in the region, a lot of it is towards the bottom lane, as Naru one more time in a little bit of trouble.
Cleanses out, though. Should be okay, but Dragon over to Saigon Jokers. And I have to say, the aggression's certainly here today.
Yeah, so... yeah, my overall point is, I guess, sometimes you have to ignore local tendencies when you go to an international tournament. And SuperMassive right now have been caught off guard by at least Jinky as well as Rose aggression. And I think even by Hughes, who's got around the map very, very well early. And their composition scales into the later stages. So it's not like it gets better for SuperMassive right now.
And I think it's very impressive from Su as well to out-rotate Dumbledore. Of course, he was trying to roam out, but he's been beaten to the punch quite a few times. And again, collectively 6-0 and 5. Are the top lane and jungler for Saigon Jokers of the 7 kills they have this game. They've converted well for objectives also. They've actually even up in Dragons, but they have the turret lead. But again, about 4K up. And it just feels so easy for Jinky to gank this lane.
Yeah, exactly right. And time and time again, that is what has been what's going down. They're even invading the jungle. One thing I will mention is if you have double outers in the top and bottom down, mid lane becomes this huge vocal point, and this is where Gragas really does shine at being able to repel sieges, as well as kind of kick them off if he's on the other team. So diving mid lane right now is a huge risk, because if you ever come from behind the turret, the 2 mid lane turrets are that close together, you get hit on the wrong side of a Gragas barrel, you fly into the tier 2, and you kind of have nowhere to go. So with Gragas on your team, really, really hard to execute against if you're Saigon Jokers on these turret dives.
It is, but Rift Herald picked up, and a wonderful looking rotation starting now for the Jokers as we've got Levita bottom lane with the TP on list, ready to go if he needs to make a play. Rift Herald likely going to be applied to that mid lane. The wave even in a decent spot as Storm Age eats the Cocoons who pop back in.
Yeah, Storm Age is not having the game that he had yesterday, certainly. Is up in gold, but has been well and truly out-ganked by the Elise player.
Expect that in the matchup, but certainly maybe not to play out. Like, Elise can do it, but it's impressive that Jinky has done it.
Yep. The other thing important to note is even though Achu is running into his 2-item spike in the next couple of minutes, because of how well Lucian has farmed and having an extra turret, looks like he's going to reach his at the exact same time, which is scary. Because
these items are not the same gold amount. Celebrity going in onto Naru, though. That is Needless aggression, I'll say.
Yeah.
I like the panache, but maybe not the execution.
Yeah, double summoner spells used there, and I'm going to say that I didn't even like the aggression because like Lucian can dance around, but Naru had already thrown out 2 Qs, nailed both of them, so it was kind of like the gig was up at that point, like just, you know, bow out gracefully.
Well, that's the first time the Saigon Joker's aggression in this game maybe cost them, but it does not take Celebrity down. It'll just delay any sort of push they were looking for, but it looks like the Rift Tower may have worn off for the most part, and that mid tower will stand strong. Ro, though, top lane, looking very threatening. He's got a Sheen, a Spectre's Cowl, and a finished Sunfire versus just that Spirit Visage for Fab. Storm Edge, though, going to eat a Cocoon. Winter's Bite follows in, but the Doge there to protect them.
And one more time, just going to repeat that it's very hard to dive this mid lane turret, so what are they doing instead? They're pressing up the side lanes, potentially looking for roams through the jungle to capitalize on here for Saigon Jokers. Iceborne Gauntlet has been finished up by a Chu, so he's looking much more aggressive.
Oh, that Cocoon almost hitting there onto the Ezreal as Supermassive are looking to defend this tier 2. Doing a nice job so far, I will say. And I do like, again, the map movement they looked for. I think the Rift Tower's absent, though, so not going to get the extra benefit out of the push. And looks like they'll just have to pull away, unfortunately. No Dragon to fall back to. Maybe looking for something a bit naughty there. I'm not sure a Chu's going to buy it.
Yeah, no, don't think so either. As Ro now in this mid lane.
1v1 looking good. Not too much on the 1v2, perhaps.
But he's, like, styling on people
Yes.
right now. Throwing out the Time Wider, slows down Naru, able to dash away, then comes back in for some cheeky damage onto Fab. It's not really all that phased, has picked himself up the Sheen, so he's looking aggressive as well.
And here's more aggression. Ro looking for the stun, doesn't land it. Getting chunked a bit, but should be okay with the ultimate, if nothing else. We have a bit of a stalemate, sort of here in the mid lane, as Saigon Joker is still farming up, sort of playing back to maybe some of their tendencies from the local league. But again, they'll be patient here, probably just waiting between dragons at this point.
Yeah, there's not really much point in pushing the tempo right now. Double Doge looks as teleport comes out of Ro.
This looks like the mistake they want to try and punish. It is Ro and does get kicked out by the Doge, but here's Levita now in. Going to try and lock someone down. Does get Double Doge there with the snare. Lands in there with the ulti. And that's going to be a first kill there. Sue able to pick that up on the Poppy. And what a freeze there.
Yeah, so Poppy does fall down. Double Doge unfortunately dies, but he does it in style, I think it's very fair to say, as a really nice double teleport play. Yeah.
Lissandra ulti for the mid-Q as we bot back in. Fabulous are able to slay Sue on the other side as he's going to go down to Celebrity. Ro ulti's on the spot for a bit of extra health, but Supermassive going to shove down mid lane.
Yeah, so 2-for-1 special there, but Supermassive with inside track into the mid lane means that they're able to get some damage.
Might just
Nicely
get
done.
this, actually.
Looks like they're going to push for it, but Echo W was coming out, parallel convergence. I heard it, didn't see it.
At least wrapping around right-hand side as well. So it could be a collapse if the Saigon Jokers are far enough up their lane to try and answer this.
And here we go.
Yep, it is there. Looks like Nara going to get jumped on here. Ro going to keep chasing in, but a good snare from Nara out from the W should be enough to protect him. And Chu goes in, straight in for it, but now he's got to flash out of the way. Still cutting around, but I think he's going to go down.
Yeah,
and
he does.
Chu, that was a little too much.
Yeah, it certainly was. He put on the dancing shoes because he just got the transform of the Muramana. What a play, but honestly, maybe one more time a little bit too aggressive out of an AD carry, trying to do it all by themselves. So it is 10-4 right now. Pretty much a 4.5.
Yep. Same gold lead we've had kind of at the start of the game where Saigon Jokers were able to get themselves a lead. So they haven't really grown it since that point. And they Supermassive didn't get the tier 2 though in mid. So
Static Shiv picked up for Celebrity. Now I've got a rant about this one,
All right.
and we have a pause at the right time.
Perfect.
So, yeah, let's go for it. So Lucian has some cool combos that he can use. His W into dash is generally how you see him kick off team fights. Rapid Fire Cannon actually means that you don't have to dash first. You can W, get the movement speed as Dumbledore's caught.
well,
No, chips in the night. Yeah, so if you go Rapid Fire Cannon over Static Shiv, you're able to W, you get the ranged auto attacks, that speeds you up, then you can Q and start flying around the rift, as now Naru caught up, or is he?
Yeah, Levita forced to ulti. Oh, very good play from Fab, but he doesn't quite land the ulti onto someone for a back. And Saigon Joker still moving in, but not going to keep going aggressive.
So that's actually an impressive play out of Sue as opposed to a bad play out of Fab, because he got the door up in time, and that meant that it kind of just hit the front target. But Supermassive able to get a dragon,
Sneaky.
even though they're 4,000 down. So that is a nice play there.
Very sneaky indeed. Kind of swoop in and take the dragon with Fabulous trying to make a play in mid lane. I do like it. And now maybe even chasing for some kills here. No real cooldowns, I don't think. Nara can maybe speed the team up and get them involved, but they're kind of out of CC unless you want to count a Chew. Don't think the Doge is in the area to try and swoop somebody up on the Poppy. We'll have to find out. Fab, though, used his cooldowns. I think expended the flash for the play mid as well.
Yeah, he did. So good flash body slam. Not good response out of suit to be able to block the cast. So a little bit, I guess, ambitious there for Fab if the Braum is going to be in that group. But you can see that this Supermassive lineup, even though they're down, more than willing to throw their weight around a little bit because they do have a mid-game spiking comp. Karma, Ezreal, Gragas, all very, very good. Rose seems to hold a lot of the power right now for the Saigon Jokers. Probably where they want it. Top lane Echo pretty good on the current patch. So have to see whether they're able to make any of that work for themselves.
Certainly do. And probably a bit more time to talk about that Lucian.
Yeah,
well.
Cool. So rapid fire cannon.
Yep.
Like, so you W, you get the rapid fire cannon procs, you speed up, then you're able to E around the fight, get another double tap in. So what it does, in a sense, going rapid fire cannon over static shiv, is it gives you 2 free autos.
Yep.
Which, when you think about it,
that's a lot of damage.
It's pretty damn massive on an AD carry, especially the later the game goes. And you never go double zeal item on Lucian, so it's not like you can get both of them at any point. So I just like the range. It also helps out with Siege, because if you look at the Siege, Lucian, very short range. Lissandra and Elise are the only 2 other range. They're also very short range. So unless they win a team fight here, there's not much chance to Siege into it. Whereas throwing out a W, getting the double proc from the rapid fire cannon onto the turret, also really worthwhile in a Siege sense. So I just think the rapid fire cannon, unless you're under serious threat and need the Phantom Dancer, is much more appropriate on Lucian on the current patch.
Have to agree. And again, we do have a delay here, so apologies. So we are going to get ourselves back in the game ASAP, but it's been a pretty good one so far. Saigon Jokers, surprising level of aggression there to start the game off, but I feel like they have sort of, again, fallen back into maybe a comfortable place that's too comfortable and just delayed the game a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the problem is they don't really have a way to siege up, right?
Yeah.
So what that means is, like, what do you fight over? Objectives? Well, unfortunately, Supermassive were just able to take the dragon out from underneath your nose. You didn't really get anything on that mid lane engage. Double teleport play was down for a little bit, so they had a 5-minute window-ish where they weren't able to make some of these. So I just think that, it's not really a style choice right now, but like an error of their composition. Their composition does some things very well. Bully 1-3-1. Double teleport when it's up, massive. They're able to get little skirmishes. But sieging, not really all that easy for this composition, so quite hard.
We've seen it again as we do pop back into the game, engaging also more reactive than anything else.
That is now an 8,000 gold lead and 15
wow.
to 4. So let's do some detective
Alrighty.
work. Lucian picked up a couple of kills. Another kill and assist picked up for the Echo. He is now on 9 stacks. I think 2 or 3 assists picked up for the Elise as well. And they were able to grab, it looks like, no turrets. So that's all that gold is completely off team fights and minions.
Yep. Might have had one around the dragon fight, although this...
Baron. That's Baron.
Yeah. We figured it out. Apologies again that we did have a delay in there, but seems like Baron got picked up by Saigon Jokers, able to get themselves a team fight win and the Baron itself, and now we'll see what damage they can get done. So that's the way to swing a game.
This could be a new game, Tweet in at home what you think happened during that time.
We'll take entries.
As we see Lissandra and Lucian able to break this siege in the mid lane. And of course, as always, one thing that will help out any team that has very little siege is Baron. So Saigon Jokers maximizing the turrets that they're taking. They're now 11,000 gold in the lead and looking very dominant.
So, again, did miss a bit there, but I think we filled in the blanks here, and very strong play there from Saigon Jokers. Didn't even consider, actually, maybe one of the ways to make this comp work was around the Baron, but they clearly figured it out, and now they're off to a huge lead in this game as Zondi's now picked up for Levita. Going to make maybe some of that playmaking potential a little bit bigger. He is sort of the primary engage like you described.
He's also 4 items, because I count boots of items.
Yep.
Weird caster in that way,
That's
but yeah,
fine.
He's absolutely massive. One thing I will say is Celebrity's going for an IE. Don't love the pickup just because you kind of need lifesteal. I spoke about it a little bit last game, but double lifesteal seems to be gaining traction on Lucian because he is kind of a brawler AD carry. As Celebrity kills someone.
Yeah, blown up there actually as the Doge just gets taken out by all the damage. Again, Saigon Jokers doing a nice job sieging up some of these side lanes. They've taken 4 turrets already, and they have 2 in their front of the mind. Naru may be locked up here. Levita going to go in, but he ults himself. Naru, though, chunked out. A Celebrity's able to take him down. Stormage now chased on the other side as well. That right-hand side looking real weak.
Yeah, certainly is, and all of a sudden they're going to burst down mid lane. I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually nearly the game for Saigon Jokers because they have got some momentum running down that mid lane. They had a creep wave prepped already. Naru held the cleanse through the first CC, and although that didn't directly result in his death, the follow-up CC did, so double summoner spells burnt and he still falls down. Mid laner for Supermassive not having the best game. We already mentioned that the win over the Chiefs was impressive, but that was a single game and they looked very prepared. This time versus the Saigon Jokers, a team like... GPL is just such a hard region to prepare for in general, because honestly, I watch a little bit of it and it's impossible to gauge the relative strength of these teams, because on any given day they beat each other.
Yeah.
So Saigon
even the final that they won was a 5-game slugfest. Like, I can understand that.
Yeah, so I think that Supermassive has just been a little bit blindsided by how well Saigon Jokers are playing this game so far.
And it's almost like they got baited sort of the info we got. You know, they're more of a reactive team. They love their double TP. Like, they'll play a bit of a slower game. You can afford to scale and maybe play into them. And sure, they picked a comp that felt like it fit that style, but they did not play the comp in that slow way at all.
And it was all around the top lane, right? Credit where credit's due. Ro went off. From level 1 was pressuring out FabFab, and FabFab we know likes to be a lane bully, so that's why I thought he was taking the Graves, and I think that they'll look at that and be like, you know, Stamaj had a great game, had a great game on the Gragas.
Yep.
Now we put him on Graves. We could have swapped that one around a little bit, maybe, made both players a little bit more comfortable, but, you know, it just didn't work out that way, and in the end, it's going to be a rough mid-game.
Yeah, and I'm not sure it's necessarily the champion that's causing the biggest problems. I think
that was a lane assignment, I think.
Yeah, and like but they knew they were giving Echo over, right? So you have to think in this draft, if you're Supermassive, you're like, okay, we're not banning it. They'll likely pick it up. It was a very straightforward first pick, and like, okay, we've thought about this. What's our counter? And they've already thought about what they want to do, but maybe didn't think that one extra step, because Rogue clearly caused them problems, especially with Jinky in tandem.
Yeah, I completely agree, but the other thing you have to look at is both teams blind lane swap, so I think that Supermassive were like, okay, cool, we're going to lane swap away from the Echo, we're going to keep it down. He double jungles well, but does need some farm to go into the 1-3-1. Otherwise, you know, there are potentials for us to be able to collapse on him and take him off the map. We have a game plan to deal with this, and then the lane swap was matched, and they were like, okay, this is still okay. We got first blood on Dumbledore. This is all going to plan. What they didn't account for was how, like, Elise and Echo both have turrets resets. They're so good at diving, and it's very hard to dive a Gragas because of all the CC in his kit, but they've just been able to execute on it time and time again. They just created this big hole when you have, like, pretty much a utility top laner now at this point. May as well be a Maokai because of, like, he's just tanking and not doing much else. Difficult to overcome that.
And do we maybe look at adjusting that sort of lane swap, because we've seen, you know, that's kind of a soft lane swap, I'll call it, because everyone's spreading out neutrally, and then you guess it may be a blind swap there as well. Do you maybe just go for the hard swap and just smack it back in there and say, we are getting deep vision and making sure the swap happens?
Yeah, completely agree. We jump back into game, guys, so we are going to take restock of what has happened. It is now a 14,000 gold lead. Just those 2 kills picked up on the back end of the mid lane push. But Lucian is absolutely massive. Celebrity going off one more time.
And Ro did it. He upgraded into the Magi's. Probably have plenty of stacks there, so I'm not sure I can blame the man.
Yeah, I like it, actually, because he's so tanky right now that he's not going to die regardless, and it gives him some offensive feel. If he goes into something like a Dead Man's Plate, I agree with it even more. There was also talk at one point, like, bear with me for a second here, but if you get really fed,
yes,
and you get those 3 items, and you kind of unrivaled in the split push, just go towards Gwinsu's Rage Blade.
Oof.
You know, you got the Magi's already. Grab the Gwinsu.
Just get in there.
Yeah, just get in there.
Well, Ro, certainly scary one way or the other. Rage Blade aside, as Baron is going to respawn. Saigon Jokers did pick up the last one and did hella damage with it, as you can see. 6 turrets down. They didn't break the base. That's about the good news here for Supermassive at this stage, because they are horrendously behind in gold. Saigon Jokers have just come to play today, and they've brought out some of that aggression, probably back from Southeast Asia.
All right, so let's take a look at the items right now. That was my Joe Miller. That was good. The Iceborne Gauntlet, as well as the Magi's and a Giant's Belt, is what the top laner is up. That's massive. He's pretty much 100 CS and 5 kills worth of gold on top of it. In the mid lane, pretty much an item and a half as well. A full item on the 80 carries. There's just so much right now for Saigon Jokers to work with.
Oh, no! Stormage actually stole the Baron, but the fight is going to start. Naru is going to move in for it, but they'll take the fight instead. Just getting crushed down there as a triple almost comes out. The double actually for Lucian, but 3 kills go over to Saigon Jokers. That's a painful Baron.
So operation successful, but the patience still died, I think, in the end there for Supermassive. They're able to get the steal, so heads up play out of their jungler, but it's still 5 members strong, rotating into the base one more time. 4 in the top, 1 in the mid lane. Ro is unrelenting in his pressure, and Celebrity is going to make short work of these structures.
Yeah, and this is going to be a break here in the top side of the map. Inhibitor turret down. That inhibitor will fall. do not worry.
Yeah, it certainly will. So 3 members still dead, breaking into the base.
And I like the idea there. Like, Saigon Jokers, they saw Stormage. They were like, he's coming in.
They
pull off the Baron, try and burst him down. Great steal, honestly, out of the Graves to get all the burst in there.
End of the line, collateral damage, smite. Collateral damage is an execute as well. That is so much burst damage that comes across. Sure, you can make the argument with Elise. You have also pretty similar execute damage in the smite as well as the Venomous Bite, but, you know, heads-up play out of SuperMassive. They make the best of a bad situation. Bad news was everyone else can go over the wall, so what do? Everyone goes over the wall and absolutely destroy the team.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where if you make that play, it probably has to be a clean steal, and then maybe your jungler dies for it, and that's about it. Instead, Saigon Jokers, they make the right play, they react effectively to what was happening, and they're able to take things down and actually get the team fight after and then break the base. Like, that was the issue with the last Baron that they got, is that they couldn't break into the base and take an inhib. Pretty much the same thing there with the last Baron, even though they didn't get it. They take the second Baron effectively and then get what they want out of it, which is to break the base.
Yeah, they certainly do. So in the end, really, really nicely played there. I think that when you have a look at this game, you're just going to say that SuperMassive completely underestimated the early game of Saigon Jokers, and that's what it's continually come down to. You know, the top lane went all over the shop. Everywhere else on the map kind of didn't catch up. You know, you had a scaling Ezreal that was going to buy a tier. He's against a Lucian. That's a little bit of an oversight there. Lucian is such a huge lane bully. They don't secure the lane swap. I just think that the back and forth in this game really was dictated from like minute number 1 by the Saigon Jokers, and even though their duo lane struggled a little bit, in the end it was all okay because Lucian went back, got a tier. Like, that's not a huge deal.
Yeah, no, just excellent work, honestly, from the Saigon Jokers. Pressure from Jinky has been good. Ro and him have had a great partnership there, and again, it's just snowballed the lanes. And we're starting to see a lot of this in the tournament. It's funny, we talk about metagames in tournaments, best of one. It's a little harder to prepare for because obviously you have to prepare for your individual match, but I think there are overall things in the tournament that teams are starting to pick up on. And what I can say after watching almost a day and a half at this point, is that aggression seems to be very rewarded for this format, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's a punishing format, and it's designed to be that way for a reason. You play everyone once, and I guess the surprise punch is going to be the deadliest. So, you know what? I'm going to say the tournament meta right now, Lissandra, double TP, and Lucian bottom lane seems to be coming up massive. I mean, Kalista did win last game, but I think that's more of Radia's preference towards utility than it is outright damage, because Lucian, from what I've seen so far, has been absolutely dominant. The other thing that I want to point out is it doesn't seem like Nidalee Kindred are the sparks that junglers were looking for. No. Back into game and double inhib.
Like, they're getting banned a lot as well, but I agree. There's just not... They're not as strong as we've seen them in other regions. Graves has been a big pick. Even the ganking junglers, Gragas and Elise, have sort of made their way back as well, which has been...
Not over. Don't worry about that.
It's not. It's okay.
Still here.
Game's still being played as well. Again, apologies for the delays, but we'll piece together the game as we can. It's always fun.
It is. It's kind of a detective game now. So away from typical color casting, now hard mode color casting, and I think I am ready.
I believe you are too, sir. I've seen your ability. It is rather strong. But again, from what we can gauge, Saigon Jokers looking good still in the game there. SuperMassive. We'll have to see if they can pull out a pretty big comeback here in this game, because the gold's starting to get pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, can't really see what's going on, but double inhibitor down top and mid lane, and the amount of pressure that they have all over the map with double TP, you think that this game... Don't want to call it before it's over.
No,
but it's pretty close.
But it does seem, close to sealed, if nothing else here. Probably take a step back and talk a bit more about the tournament format as a whole. Cool, actually. Again, going from best of ones to best of fives, there's clearly a difference there. Oh, actually, a fight's breaking out. Hello. Lucian actually got a kill into a turret, so not too bad there. We are going to keep moving in for it. Ooh. Fight still happening out.
I can hear it.
Fighting, I can tell you that much. Power convergence down.
That was a culling.
Going to move back in. Dives in, does get the stun, I don't think he got anyone. There's your ulti out. Echo's really doing it. He's very loud, actually.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of work.
So all jokes aside, actually, a lot of what I see in-game is actually audio cues from champion abilities and stuff. So actually, just hearing the game is kind of fun, because I do hear a lot. Unfortunately, Echo's sounds are very specific and quite loud. And Ro's doing a lot of things at the moment because he's very large and has had a really big game. So that mostly just sounded like Echo hitting buttons, which is quite fun.
There was a culling in there, and there was also a true shot barrage. So I can tell you those two things. I could also tell you, because of the gold lead, that SuperMassive probably lost that team fight. And because they also had broken the turret, I'm going to go as far as to say that that was probably game.
Yeah, that was the last inhib left, I believe. So Saigon Jokers looking pretty strong and likely closed out that game. They did win the game. We can confirm Saigon Jokers able to take the upset there. And unfortunately, again, apologies for some of those delays. But you can see kind of how we felt in the game. Like, that was just dominant aggression.
Yeah, it certainly was. So, like, let's just recap. So, Saigon Jokers did win that game. When you're running something like Ezreal and Ezreal Karma, if you fall behind because of how linear the champions are going to be, it's going to be really, really hard to claw your way back into that. So what happened was Echo got ahead, that started trickling across the rest of the map. Then all of a sudden Celebrity got massive on Lucian as well. He's pumping out all this damage, and there's just no response because the tanks weren't big enough for Supermassive to be able to deal with it. So I think that Saigon Jokers, great scouting, once again come into this game very prepared, but Supermassive, they fumble a little bit there and get out-comped pretty hard.
Certainly do, and after such a great day one, it is unfortunate to see the side drop again, but still plenty left to play here as the Saigon Jokers will join hard and random at 2-0 as undefeated. Don't go too far away though. International Wildcard Invitationals